Good morning, guys. Happy Sunday. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Bambino here. Hope you guys are having a great Sunday. Going to be getting into some VR aviation today, flying with the Oculus Quest in X11.50. Or if I should say 11.50b9 beta 9, which has seemed to be a groundbreaking release, basically, from Laminar Research. As if you read some of the chatter on the message boards in the VR aviation group and whatnot, many people are seeing some great performance improvements from this particular release. There was one of the statements in the developers update where they mentioned something about taking advantage of 4-core processors, which is a big step for Laminar. I don't know the specifics of it, but just from that one bullet point, it's a big step, and it seems to have unleashed quite a improvement in performance, at least for myself and for many who have experienced, or I should say, have experienced stuttering and jittery flight in many areas of X-plane. So pretty cool. Everyone's pretty happy with the release. I mean, there's some people that have had some issues, but so we're going to get into some of that today, and we're going to be doing about an hour flight today in FS Economy. Make a little money for the VR Aviation Group. If you want to join that, just go on to FS Economy and look for VR Aviation and submit an application to join, and we'll let you in. I think right now we're 50-50 on splits, so 50% goes to the pilot, 50% goes to the group, and we're trying to build up FBOs in the east and add planes and whatnot to build the group up. So in any event, cool. Looking into getting into it today, let's take a look at what we've got in store for today. Give me a second here. All right, so we're going to be going from, where are we here? Okay. From Cape May to Carroll County Regional, Jack B. Poage Field. That's about a 100-mile jaunt. You see here, Cape May. These are both FBOs owned by the group. So we'll be coming in from Cape May, or leaving from Cape May here. About a 100-mile flight past Baltimore, and we'll end up at taking a right turn into Carroll Regional. As far as runways, it looks like we're going to be landing on runway 34 into Carroll. The Unicom is the same, so that's pretty easy. Same as here. So these are all non-attended airports. So in any event, so that's our plan for today. We've got let's see, we've got 5 passengers going out, Blue Crab foodies, and we've got 6 passengers coming back. I'm not going to broadcast that flight. We're just going to be doing this flight here. So, and that's the plan for today. So, give me 1 second here. You want to say hello in the chat? Please do. Appreciate you guys watching today, and let's get this plane started up and cranking. All right. You can see here we're by the VR Aviation Terminal at Cape May. Get a little bit of a quaky movement when you move your head around here. I think it's because of the heavy graphics or whatever. But once we move away from here, things seem to be fine. So, all right, let's get this Hey, Dang Driver, how you doing? Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Thanks for saying hello. Let's get this thing started up here. So we'll get our electric master on. Okay. Get our aviation master on. Let's get these master switches on. Get our fuel pumps going. And let's do clear. Let's do a left engine start. Starts right up. Let's do a right engine start. Beautiful. Okay, and we don't really need the fuel pumps on. So we'll turn those off once we get started up here. Alright, let's dial in our I have all of these flight plans already built in. Just makes it easier. Ooh. There we're going to Carol DMW. So we'll dial that one in. We're going to be going to Nabic and then to DMW. Alright, so we like to get my flight plan up there. We'll turn the nav on. We're going to set our altitude to 2,000. We'll keep it at 2. Actually, let's go to 3,000 today. We'll climb at about 800, or not about, we'll climb at 800 feet per minute. And we're going to taxi over to 28. I believe it's 28. Let's just make sure of that. Yep, we're going to taxi over to 28. And we'll be on our way. So, let's get to it. Cape May traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta. We are taxiing from VR Aviation to runway 28 to Cape May. All right, let's go. Wait for this truck to get out of the way. Waiting for me? Go ahead, bub. Come on. Go, 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 go. Get out of here. What the hell? Come on, man. I never saw that before. There he goes. He's out of here now. All right. Here we go. Brakes released. Go this way so we don't have to look at the, we don't get the stuttering from the building. I mean, as you can see, been getting nice, smooth performance. I always just look at the runway lights there, or I should say, the taxiway lights. If you see those stuttering, then you know, that's where you see you've got issues. But as you can see, it's pretty. And I've got a lot of stuff open here. I'm streaming from the same computer. I've got Oculus Mirror open. I've got, I guess I could. Yeah, I've got the X-Plane window open. I've got a lot of stuff open. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on the CPU right now, and it's still operating pretty smartly. So, all right, we're going to cross the runway here. We're going to be crossing 1001, I should say. Cape May traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta, crossing runway 01. Taxing to 2.8, Cape May. Nobody coming in. All right, so get our yaw damper on. We'll have to load up our passengers for FS Economy. See if I could do that from in here. Stop here. There's 2.8, so go here. Advanced menu, plugins, FS Economy. Open FS Economy. That didn't work. Doesn't show it on here. It does. It opens it up, but it doesn't show it. So let's get that. We got to start flight. Get our passengers loaded, which now they're loaded. 80 gallons of fuel, and we're good to go. We're getting 28. We're getting 30 frames per second, pretty solid here. So just to show you before I take off, one of the major enhancements that has helped me improve things is the OVR settings tool. So if you go under Fly with Lua, OVR settings, this tool right here. Okay, so here you can, and you can get this. I'll show you where you can get this on X11.50b9. So here you can set your super sampling for Oculus. It's Oculus VR settings. Okay, I've got it on 1.7, but you can see here you can set it up to 2. Okay, and you can set your space warp settings. I have it force 30 with ASW enabled. You can go up to 45. Okay, and it's got, this is for the Oculus CV1. This is for the Rift S, or you could put it on auto. If you put it on auto, you see, let me just put it on auto here. It'll start to, we would actually start to see stuttering. See, it comes down to 27, 26. So I'm going to force 30, and it should move it back up to 30. There's 30. See, so this has been the key, one of the keys to smooth flying for me. Okay, and this is just the hub. If you want to look at the performance summaries and stuff like that, you can take a look at that. Don't really need to see that, but I'll show you where you can get this. This has been a godsend. Anybody that's using Oculus flying in VR should be using this this tool. What's nice about it is it sets all this stuff automatically every time you load up X-Plane. You don't have to worry about the debug tool and doing it manually. It's just done automatically for you, which is awesome. All right, so that's that. All right, now that we've got our people loaded here, we're going to say Cape May traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta, departing runway 28. We'll be departing to the west, climbing to 3,000 feet, and departing straight out Cape May. All right, here we go. Would help if I was on the right frequency. 1227. All right, get our flaps set to take off. Line ourselves up on that center line. Let's have a look. There's the VR Aviation livery, which you can get on X-Plane.org if you want. Got our passengers, a couple of kids in the back there, and we're all set to go. All right, here we go. Cycle the engines up to 88%. Release the brakes. Set the trim up a tad. We'll rotate it about 70. There's 50, 60, 66, 70, and rotate 78. See, nice smooth takeoff, no jittery. Usually, it used to be this was like a jittery mess, which is much better than it was. All right, gear up. Flaps up. Keep me traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta departing the pattern to the west. Last call, Cape May. All right, so we're gonna let's set our autopilot now. Get us up to 3,000 and put us on track to Carroll. And that should do it. Here's the airport. As I said before, 11.50 beta 9 and using the OVR tool, that was a jittery, that takeoff would have been a jittery, stuttery mess. So hats off to Laminar for great improvements in the current beta release, and hopefully more to come. They did say that they're going to be adding more improvements to Vulkan, and hopefully that's the case. Let's see what kind of time we got here. So we're going to be under an hour. Might be a half hour if it's, we may do both trips. We'll see. All depends on the timing, because we've got some plans today to go for a drive here in New Jersey as they start to lift restrictions, which is nice. So again, thanks for joining today, guys. I appreciate it. Sorry, just trying to figure something out here. My Nightbot doesn't seem to be working. Not sure why. Weird. I'll restart it. See if that fixes things. We shall see. A little bit finicky. So, Dang Driver, just curious, are you a VR flyer or X-plane flyer, or what's your interest in flight simulation? Just curious. You guys are in the chat. Please say hi. Ah, okay. You got the potato syndrome. Gotcha. Well, yeah, I had that too at one point, and decided to take the plunge, you know. But yeah, it's a common, you know, it's unfortunately with VR you need quite a, you know, hefty implementation. Although I think, you know, there's some people using the Oculus Quest with X11. I don't quite know all the details, technical details, and I don't know um, what the PC requirements are. But you know, Oculus Quest is sort of like a self-contained VR um, system, right? So there may be some hope there, even with, you know, I mean, you're going to need a graphics card. I'm not sure what kind of graphics card you have, but you're going to probably need a decent graphics card. I'm not sure. It's something you should look into. I mean, I wouldn't get your hopes up yet, but you might want to look into that. Yeah, I tell you, man, it is. Have you ever flown in VR? Just curious. 1050 Ti. Okay. Um, have you? If you haven't flown in VR, once you do, it's pretty addicting because you just the situational awareness of being able to see see things in 3D, especially when landing. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, you'll get hooked on it for sure because when you the first time you land in VR, it's like, oh my, the quest begins. You know, it's just you can't compare it when you know having like you know, being a flight simulator enthusiast for quite some time, always, you know, flying in 2D until about 3 years ago, I guess it was. Um, you know, that was all you had. You know, I mean, I go back to like Sublogic days of Microsoft Simulator, right? When it used to run on on a Apple II. Okay, so you know that's how far back I go. And I remember when they went from like stick figures to, you know, on a CRT to actual graphics. And then it came out for the Macintosh, the first Macintosh. So, you know, I've been through all of that and all that 2D improvement. And when you get into flying, when you first time you fly in VR, you're like, oh my God, this is what I imagined it would be like. Because you look around the cockpit, everything's in 3D. You look out on the landscape, everything's in 3D. You could see the engine as it's in relativity to where it is versus, you know, the scenery, if you will. Everything is just pops out. And when you know, when you're making a turn into a runway, it just and then you know you can look at, you basically are able to use your peripheral vision to line yourself up for a landing. It's just there's nothing like it in flight simulation. That's why you see so many people that say they can't go back. Yeah, 95, 98. That's when things started to get better with them with Microsoft Flight Simulator. But yeah, it's just incredible. And you know what I'm hoping is yeah, it's night and day. Even in 2D, it's night and day. But what I'm hoping is that the I'm hoping two things. Laminar continues to improve, okay, their performance, because I'm still, you know, even though I'm getting 30 frames per second, CPU is still underutilized and the GPU is still underutilized considerably. They're like at 50%. So they still need to do some improvements. So that's one thing I'm hoping. And the other thing I hope is that my Flight Simulator 2020, which I guess is what they call it, Although I think, pardon me, I think Microsoft calls it just Flight Simulator. But in any event, I'm hoping that it lives up to its scenery potential, has great flight dynamics and physics, and will someday support VR. That's what I'm hoping, because that simulator looks like it could be amazing. But time will tell, right? Right now it's an alpha. I don't think it's going to be available probably till the fall, my guess. Yeah, I'm sure you'll try it. Although it might be a little bit too much for a 1050, dude. That might be a little bit too much. But in any event, well, listen, appreciate everyone joining here. We got a bunch of people watching. Say hello in the chat if you'd like. We're here flying in FS Economy, XP11 from Cape May, New Jersey to Carroll in Maryland. Let's see what we got on the flight clock here. We got 25 minutes. Yeah, we'll do it back and forth today. We got 25 minutes. Just I want to get the let's see if we can get our AWAS 121.25. We're gonna be landing runway 34. 121.25. Let's see if we can dial that in. $121. Let's see. Let's do to comms. $121.25. So this way. Oh, crap. I tell you what, this G1000 is very, very not difficult, but it takes some getting used to manipulate it. And let's see if we can get 25 dialed in here. Make sure we got that right. 121.25. Alright, we're gonna dial that in. And we'll go to COM 2, and then we got COM 2 on. So hopefully we should get some weather when we get close there. I'd like to get myself centered here. There we go. Let's check out the scenery here. So see, flying nice and easy, no stuttering. Flying out here over western Delaware. I guess we're actually in Maryland now. Oh, there's a stutter. It's probably hard for you to see on the stream because you're looking at Oculus Mirror. But you're seeing basically what I'm seeing in VR. Looks pretty smooth to me. Go outside the plane. Very smooth. We're at 3,000 feet. right, yeah. So let's talk about my experience so far with 11.50 beta 9. So before that, and again, I'm using it. I started using the OVR settings tool, which I showed you in the beginning of the stream, um, and beta 9 at the same time, right? So those two things in combination are what really improve things for me. Although I'm still having some issues now. Um, where I fly most is Cape May area and Roanoke, Virginia area, and those two areas are really they perform very well. It's a lot of flat land, although when you get out to Roanoke, there's some small mountains like the Appalachian Mountains are out there, so you get into a little bit of that. But for the most part, it's pretty flat terrain like you see here. Um, that's all great, and it runs really smooth, as you're seeing right here, right? When I fly north, into like northern New Jersey, into New York, certainly Manhattan, even north of Manhattan, um, the closer I get to like density of buildings and stuff. Now, keep in mind, I've got my objects on low, right? That's one thing that needs to improve. I need to be able to get it up to at least medium, but I keep it at low. But as I move up towards the northern parts of the Northeast, I get much less, frame rates. Frame rates definitely decrease. Um, in fact, like the last week, I did a test landing at JFK, which is an airport near New York City, and the frame rates went down to like 17 frames per second. So, and I'm not using any special scenery in New York area. It's all X-plane based scenery. Now I am using ortho all over the Northeast, um, but that shouldn't really have, I don't think, much effect on it, right? Because this is all ortho here, right? Um, so certainly in the Northeast, like I said, the Manhattan area and north, as I get approached that, I see worse and worse frame rates. Not sure what that is. I'm sure it's a lot more scenery that needs to be built. I've got my visibility set at 50 miles. I could probably lower that, but I like it to be 50 miles because otherwise it gets pretty hazy, especially with the Oculus CV1. So there needs to be some improvement still in that area, right? Um, Now, I'm not sure what the cause of that is. I've got this sneaking suspicion, although um, I put a post on Explain.org about how to remove trees because my suspicion is that drawing all these trees all over the place as you get into the Northeast, there's more and more trees, right? There's not a lot of trees where we are right now, but as you get to northern New Jersey, northeast Pennsylvania, up into southern New York State, it's tree city, right? It's a lot of trees. So my theory was that that might be something that's bogging it down, right? It's got to draw all those trees all the time. Well, there's some people that kind of disagreed with me. They didn't really say they disagreed with me, but they kind of joked at it, laughed at it. That's probably not the reason on Explain.org. And actually, um, someone on there created this thing, and I'll show you, called Zap All Trees in response to one of my posts. This is basically something you put in your custom scenery folder, and it basically gets rid of all your trees, right? I'm going to actually try this, and I'm going to try to fly into the Northeast. I could be all wet. Um, I could be completely wrong about it's a theory, right? The theory is X-Plane 11 objects are objects are more CPU centric when they're drawn, the rendering. So, that puts more tax on the CPU when it's got to draw a boatload of trees. So if I get rid of the trees, that's less that has to be drawn. I don't really need the trees, right? I'm using ortho. Okay, yeah, trees are nice, but I don't. They're kind of ugly anyway. So I think it's worth an experiment to see if I'm wrong or right. You know, like I said, I could be all wet, but maybe that'll help improve things. We shall see. Now, I don't think it's going to help improve things in JFK because there's no trees around there. It's all buildings and stuff. So, maybe if I.
Regional airport weather.
Oh,
Wind calm. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 5. Dew point -32. Altimeter 2992.
all right, we just got some weather from Carol, and we're hearing that it's clear weather, so we're all good there. We still got 40.
County Regional Airport
There we go.
Wind calm. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear.
Let me see if I can
Temperature 5. Dew point -32.
change the sound.
Altimeter
There
2992.
we go. Radios. I'm gonna make the radios louder. So yeah, basically it's saying that we're clear.
Carroll County Regional
There we
Airport
go.
weather. Wind calm. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 5. Dew point -32. Altimeter 2992.
All right, perfect day to land at 3-4. So we're going to turn off comp 2 there. We got 42 miles to our turn point into 3-4 at Carroll, but we'll give some notification before we get to that point. So in any event, what I was saying was I could be all wrong, okay? I could be all wrong about the trees. Yeah, you never know until you try. You're absolutely right. You never know until you try. I mean, we all know that XP11 is a CPU-centric flight simulator. That's how it was designed. It was designed back when GPUs weren't as powerful as they are today. Now GPUs are basically like a computer within a computer, right? They're a PC within a PC. I've got a 1080 Ti that's got 11 gigabytes of VRAM, right? It's got a CPU on it that's as fast, if not faster, than the CPU that I'm running in my computer. So, it works so. It has so much can handle so much workload that it's got 3 fans on it, right? So basically, that the whole CPU architecture has changed so much since Laminar first designed X-Plane. So now they're trying to redesign things so that they could take advantage of those hardware improvements. And I think Beta 9 was the first. But in any event, we know it's CPU-centric. Rendering is CPU-centric. You can watch Laminar videos on how to configure, and they'll tell you everything on the right in the graphics configuration is CPU, and everything on the left is GPU, right? So textures and graphic density or whatever it is, that's all GPU, and objects and reflection is all CPU, right? Well, maybe what they're doing is they're trying to move rendering more towards the GPU, which would be good, right? Especially with Vulkan, and improve the way that Vulkan and the CPU talk to each other. So in any event, my thought is, as a stopgap, getting rid of trees, maybe we'll see some frame improvement. Who knows? I'm going to try it, see if that works. But I'm still getting that stuttering as I fly around New York City. I looked over my scenery INI file and all that to make sure that was clean, and it is. It's not. Everything is pretty well configured and double checked. So we're going to try that and see what happens, right? So that's that. Now, I will tell you that, as I mentioned before, in combination to Beta 9, the OVR settings tool, which let me show you where you can get that. If you go on to xplane.org and just search up OVR settings, here's the tool. Okay, it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful tool. Okay, for anybody that's using Oculus, right? This is what I showed you in the beginning. Real simple. It sets up every time you load up X-Plane. You don't have to even worry about it. You can change your sampling on the fly, which is awesome. Okay, but yeah, if you're flying an Oculus, give this a try. I believe it's only for Oculus. Let me just check here. Yeah, it's for ASW, right? But I would certainly check this thing out. It's awesome. It's been a lifesaver. You have to run fly with Lua to use it, but it's certainly worth it. So, but anyway, that tool itself has made a huge difference on performance, which is great because I got to tell you, it was getting to the point there a couple of weeks ago, before Beta 9 and before I started using the OVR thing, that I was ready to like say, you know what, this is ridiculous, man. I can't take this. It was because it was so bad. The stuttering was at some point. I was flying in the Roanoke, and you can look back in some of the streams from a couple of weeks ago, and I was landing into Roanoke, and I was getting like below 9 frames per second. It was just time in the simulator was slowing down because of the frame rate, right? It was horrible, and I was getting ready to just basically say to myself, screw this. I'm just going to like start iRacing and not flying anymore. But thankfully, with the help of some folks in the VR Aviation group on Facebook, and breaking through some stubbornness on my part not to use fly with Lua, I had this because I had some bad experiences with it. Now, things are much better, which is awesome. So, highly recommend it. All right, so we got 27 miles. We got about 9 minutes. So, my question is, if you're in the chat, what do you think? Do you think that if you're an X-Plane 11 flyer, do you think that removing trees, all the trees, will improve frame rate? What's your thoughts on it? Or do you think that my theory is all wet? That's what I'd like to know. Yeah, my wife makes great coffee. Wow, so good. Yeah, that's what I'd like to know, if I'm all wet or not. But like I said, I'm going to give it a try and see, you know. Let's take a look at the outside here. I love this plane. Kind of looks like a wasp, you know. How smooth that is. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. Awesome. I love this little plane. This plane and the PC-12 are my favorite planes to fly. I like the Challenger 300 too, but so I'll add that into the mix. But this plane and these two, this plane and the PC-12 are great for FS economy if you're into FS economy. This handles 6 people, so quick jaunts, 160 some odd knots, which is pretty fast for a plane with 6 people, and flies nice. Has the G1000 in it. Reasonably priced on FS economy. You can buy one, I think, for like about under $500,000. And then the PC-12, I've got a couple of those. That's about a $900,000 for that, but that's 10 people. Super great on gas. Really fun to fly. a money maker. You can find airport if you want to make money in FS economy. You get yourself a PC-12, and you fly, missions with that. Full missions back and forth, and you can make a quick, good amount of money real quick. You're making, $800, $900, $9,000 a flight if you have a full load. It's pretty frugal on gas, and it's a good way to build up your your FS economy net worth, if you will. The other one is the what do you call it? The Beechcraft. Was it the C90, whatever that is? I think that's a good one too. Oh, the B2 to your fleet. That's the new one. The BN2. Is that the Islander? I was looking at that. If that's the one I'm thinking about. Yeah, Torque Sim. Yeah, I was looking. I was looking at that one. They're coming out with the SR22. Is it them? Oh, it has frame issues. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know that. They're, I think they're coming out with the SR22 in association with AFM, the SR22 GT, which looks really cool. That's one I'm definitely going to buy. In fact, I've already bought an SR22 in FS Economy just to get ahead of the curve. Because I have a feeling when that plane comes out, FS Economy's the SR22s are going to become valuable. It's only a 3-seater, so it's not a huge money maker, but it's a if you get tired of flying a Cessna 172, put yourself in the SR20, the Cirrus SR22, and you've got the G1000, and you've got all all that other capability. Yeah, exactly. Get ahead of it and buy a couple of them. I did that with actually this plane. Before this plane came out, the DA-62, I bought up like 5 of them. Was it DA-62? No. I think it was the SR-20. Yeah, it was the SR-20 because V-Flight Air came out with them. Before they came out with it, I bought a bunch of them up. Then they released it, and then I made some money on selling those. But yeah, I think you might want to, if you're interested in that plane, you might want to get yourself an SR-22 in FS Economy. But in any event, so yeah, I guess I was talking about the tree removal. So I guess maybe by next Sunday I'll have some thoughts, some results on that testing, and give you guys a clue as to whether that made a difference in the Northeast. All right, so we've got 15 miles from Carroll, so let's get, where are we? We are southeast of the airport. Southeast of the airport. Carroll traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta. We are at 3,000 feet, approximately 15 miles southeast of the airport. We'll be coming in straight in approach for runway 34, full stop, Carroll. All right. Made our announcement. Let's check our weather one more time.
Carroll County Regional Airport weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 5, dew point -32. Altimeter 2992.
2992, so we're good there. All right, good. All right, so let's start getting. We could probably start getting down here. So let's bring her down to 2,000 feet. Come down about 400 feet per minute, so we don't make it comfortable for the passengers. Start to slow up a little bit. I'm going to drop this back down to 50%. as we go down, because I don't want to increase my airspeed too much. We'll announce again when we're 5 miles from the field. See if we can see that airport. It's over there. Not quite yet. It's a little hazy. I gotta turn off that Oculus Guardian thing. See those blue plus signs there? Get a little bit of stuttering here. A lot of trees. There's a lot of trees around here. Maybe that's it. Who knows? We're about to turn on Navic. We're at just about 2,400 feet. Plane make its turn, coming down to 2,200. Carroll traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta. We are at 2,100 feet. We are approximately 5 miles south of runway 34. We'll be coming straight in approach for 34. Full stop, Carroll. All right. Give them a short final announcement at 3 miles. I'm going to take the aircraft here, take it off autopilot. Get ourselves kind of lined up here. Carroll traffic, 328 Tango Delta. We are approximately 3 miles south of the airport. We'll be making a straight-in approach from runway 34, full stop, Carroll. On final. All right. So put in some flaps here, start to slow the plane down. Lined up solid for 3-4. Let's get that gear down. Gear is down. Set. Put that last notch of flaps in. We want to land this at about 80 knots. See, nice and smooth. This is how we like it, right? I'm not going to complain about a little stutter here and there at all, you know, because what I'm used to is like constant stuttering. So we get one here or there. I'm okay with that, you know. Not that picky. All right, we got 90, 89 knots. We're coming here. Just getting over the threshold. Line up in that center line. Get that trim up here. Just hold it off, release. Beautiful. Flaps too. Flaps up. Let's get our brakes on. We'll exit right here. Carroll traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta is clear the field. Taxiing to runway 34 for departure. Carol. All right, good. So let's let our people off here. Gotta set the brakes. Oh, crap. I just hit the gear test by accident. All right, pretty good landing there. We'll unload the passengers. You guys can't see this, but trust me, I'm doing it. Okay, so they're unloaded. We still have 70 gallons of fuel. So I'm loading up 6 more passengers for our flight back to Cape May. So we're just going to assume weather is okay. Carol, traffic 328 Tango Delta taxiing to runway 34 for departure. Carol. All right, so let's set our. We want to climb. We're going to go to 3,000 again. We want to climb at 800 feet per minute. So we're all set there. We'll set our flaps to takeoff. It's a nice airport. There's plenty of runway here, so I don't think we need the tips to be able to get off here. So let's stop here for a second. Check everything. Make sure there's no one coming in. Cal traffic 328 Tango Delta departing runway 34. We'll be climbing to 3,000 feet and departing the pattern to the east. Carol. All right, good. All set to go. Got flaps to take off. We got brakes are off. We're going to throttle up to 8,000, or sorry, 88%, which is perfect. We'll release the brakes, and we're off. This plane has no pull to the left or the right at all with these two engines. It's pretty much right down the center. You got to tweak it a little bit, but it's ground handling is great on this plane. All right, up to speed here, 75. Take it to 80, rotate. Okay. Gear up. Carol traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta turning right, crosswind. Runway 34, Carol. We're still climbing here. All right, now we can get our autopilot on. Carol traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta. We are departing the pattern to the east. Last call, Carol. All right. And we are off. Flaps up. Get ourselves up to 3,000. And then we'll be slowly making our turn to the east here to get on track with our GPS target, which is Uhuzu. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Uhuzu. What we could do is set up our Cape May AWAS so we can hear the weather. Cape May. Again, appreciate you guys joining today. Let's see, AWAS at Cape May is going to be 118.275. So 118.275. We're going to be landing runway 10, I believe. Yeah, 10. 118.275. So let's dial that in. 118. That's not right. Come on. Let's go this way. 275. All right, let's switch that over. Put on COM 2 because we will hear that when we get close to Cape May, probably about 40 miles out. We are at 3,000 feet, getting up to speed, 154 knots. Bit of a hazy day today in western Maryland. We got 93 miles to go, and we got 34 minutes to get there. About 30 minutes, actually. All set. Let the computer take us there. All right, so the other thing I wanted to talk about today was I am considering, right now I'm using a Oculus CV1, which was, not the original. I think the original was the DK or SDK, I forget what it was called. It's the first consumer release of Oculus, and there's a considerable difference in resolution between the CV1 and what's available today, which is the Rift S from Oculus and the HP Reverb. Now, I'm strongly considering upgrading to one of those. I did try the Rift S on. It's not really too comfortable on my head. It's a little bit sweaty. The audio is awful, so I'd have to use external headphones, which I have. I have like Bluetooth I could use. The IPD is okay, but it's around $600, right? It's a tethered approach. I don't see anything on the horizon other than upgrade. Like, they're hinting at an upgrade to the Quest. The Quest is the wireless version. It's self-contained. I think I need to look more into how to use a Quest with XP11 and if that's viable. But, right now it seems like the Rift S is the way to go when it comes to Oculus. But the other choice that I hear many people rave about in a super way is the HP Reverb, and it's around the same price, about $600, $700, somewhere around there. I've heard the visuals are stunning. The screen door effect is eliminated. I've heard some issues with the controllers. Not sure. Maybe the folks that watch this, afterwards on YouTube, when I put over this stream over there, let me know if you guys have experience with the HP Reverb. I'd love to hear what your experiences are. The problem I have, though, is that I've got some money invested in the Oculus ecosystem with some games. Not a whole lot of money, but, probably, I don't know, maybe $100 worth of software, $150 worth of software, somewhere around there. Maybe more, maybe like $200. And with the HP Reverb, I don't know if I'll have access to those titles. I'm going to have to rebuy them. I think the Reverb is through Steam. So I got to research that. But everyone on the VR Aviators group on Facebook pretty much raves about who has a Reverb. They rave about it. And it seems like technologically and ergonomically, it's the right choice. If you take a look at the Reverb, let me see if I can bring up a picture of it. HP Reverb. They're coming out with a Gen 2. Oh, wow. I'm looking at this here. I'm just show you what I'm seeing here. So HP Reverb coming soon, developed in collaboration with Valve and Microsoft. The next HP VR headset delivers more immersive, comfortable experience than the previous generation. It sets a new standard for VR. Oof. Guess I should notify me on that, right? I'll do that later. Wow. Gen 2 images. Let's take a look. This is from 17 hours ago. 4 camera tracking. So they're tracking, or it's going to get better, and they've got new controllers. See, what I like about this is it is very much the same design that we saw with what I have now, which is a CV1, right? It's very similar. It's it's got the integrated speakers. It's got the same kind of Velcro here. It just seems to be very similar. Let's see. Image and Leaker Wildcat released a new VR headset supporting HP logo. Looks very similar. Previous reveal of G2 teased back in March. Let's look at this. So it looks like I gotta wait longer. New Reverb G2 headset made in collaboration with Valve. Not much information about it. The Reverb, is 21.6 by 21.6, which is much better than what I've got now. But it looks to me like this Gen 2, Reverb Gen 2, is going to be the way to go. Wow. Okay. Well, now I'm glad I looked into that, because these HP seems to be leading the way in tethered headsets. So let's just see if there's anything else. I don't see anything else. Anyway, so that seems like that's the way to go. I'm sure it's going to be better than 21.6, 21.6. So we'll have to look. We'll have to keep an eye on that. So maybe now is not the time to upgrade, right? Maybe now is the time to sort of status quo it for a while. It's like I said, Oculus is not planning any Oculus is not really planning any changes to their, aside from the Quest. I think once Facebook bought Oculus, they went like heavy consumer, right? Which, I mean, I can understand, okay? I can understand. And because Facebook's business is Facebook. So anything that they can do to bring people in that ecosphere, they're going to do. And the Oculus Quest is a consumer-based, tetherless, chargeable, on-the-go VR device, right? Which has pretty stunning visuals, right? Better than the CV1 for sure, and at a lower price point. But for me, like most VR flyers, if you will, we're looking to make things. The holy grail is to make things look as if you were in real life. So no fuzziness, no screen door effect. I've been doing this so long that I'm kind of like used to the fuzziness, and I live with it. You can't see the fuzziness that I see. In the Oculus mirror, it actually looks pretty clear. Okay, it doesn't look like that, obviously, if you're new to VR. It's much, well, not obviously. It doesn't look like that at all. It's much fuzzier because of the resolution of the screens inside the Oculus headset that I'm looking at, right? So it's sort of a misnomer. What you see is the Oculus mirror view of what I see, but it's in much better resolution because you're seeing it on your screen, right? So in any event, it seems to me like the HP Reverb might be the way to go, I guess we shall see. All right, so I just signed up for the G2 notification, because that seems like the jam I want to look at for sure. Well, I'm looking forward to getting out today on this glorious Memorial Day weekend, going out for a nice drive in western New Jersey. Still a lot of restrictions here in New Jersey. Our governor, quote-unquote governor, has taken it upon himself to slowly anoint certain things as doable as he feels fit. Like, for example, yesterday he allowed gatherings. It used to be gatherings of more than 10 people were not allowed, and now he's increased that to 25. I'm not sure the difference between 25 and 40, but he seems to think that, or his health advisors and he seems to think that 25, going from 10 to 25 people in a gathering is going to limit things. One thing, I don't want to get too political here on the stream, but there's a big problem in New Jersey and New York that a lot of news outlets are ignoring, and that problem has to do with how Cuomo and Murphy handled long-term care facilities in the states. What they did early on was, when they had extra hospital beds available at the USS Comfort and at field hospitals, they were sending COVID-infected patients to long-term care facilities. Okay? Now, we all know that the most vulnerable people are the elderly, right? The elderly and those with underlying health conditions tend to be the people that are most vulnerable. Those are the ones that are hospitalized the most. Those are the ones that succumb to COVID-19 the most. So the question has to be asked of Cuomo and Murphy, and they have to they really owe a detailed, specific answer to the question: why did they okay long-term health care facilities taking in newly infected COVID patients? Why did they put COVID patients in the same facilities that house the most vulnerable people? If you look at it, I think the numbers are like 40% of the deaths in New Jersey are in long-term care facilities. I think it's actually that high. Okay. In contrast, Florida, their governor said, we're going to take care of the most susceptible and vulnerable people in the population. So what they did was they cut off all visitation, and they cut off all new entry and egress from long-term care facilities. Okay, and they saw a much less much less of a death rate, much less of a hospitalization rate. It's really outrageous that the governors of New York and New Jersey allowed to happen what happened. And actually, in Pennsylvania, there was a story of the health director of Pennsylvania, where they did the same thing. They had COVID patients being sent to long-term care facilities. This woman, I don't know, I forget her name or don't know her name, but I saw the news article. She actually removed her mother from a long-term care facility so that she took care of her own, right? But she had no concern about the people that she was basically appointed to serve, right? It's really a question that needs to be answered. Why did these politicians allow that to happen? That said, hopefully things are starting to become less restricted here in New Jersey. It's, we're probably, next to New York, one of the most restricted states during this whole issue, the COVID issue. And I totally agree that early on we should have been being very careful and isolating. But it gets to a point where once you figure out where the vulnerabilities are and you address those vulnerabilities, that you need to get back to normal life. Why wasn't Murphy and Cuomo and Newsom, why weren't they saying in January, hey, listen, you guys better get masks because we're seeing other people around the world are all wearing masks? I tell you what I did? In January, when these reports started coming out, we started seeing people in China wearing masks. I went online and I bought some masks. Okay, my family kind of laughed at me, but they didn't laugh. They said I was being like overcautious. But I bought not a big. I didn't hoard them, but I bought enough for my family to be able to use them. And when the time came, when everybody, 2 months later, when the time came, when everyone started to, say, listen, you need to wear masks, we were prepared. You could see it coming.
May weather.
Oh.
Wind calm. Visibility more than 10.
There's Cape May.
Sky clear. Temperature 7. Dew point -32. Altimeter 2992.
All right, so we're clear at 2992, so we're good there, and we're clear at Cape May. No wind. We're gonna be running runway 10 Cape. So anyway, I went ahead early on and bought masks, and so we were prepared. But a lot of questions have to be answered. about how the governors of New York and New Jersey handled this. I mean, they were dealt. Obviously it was a major issue. There was a lot of people, who were infected in our two states, but I think they knew early on the elderly were most vulnerable, yet they still allowed new COVID patients to be sent to these facilities, which is, they got to answer for that. And I know I saw a couple weeks ago that they asked Cuomo, and he's like, "Oh, I wasn't aware of that." Are you kidding me? You're not aware of the most vulnerable part of your population? It's, it's ridiculous. But anyway, let's get away from the politics. Let's hope everything gets back to normal soon. If you lost your job, I hope that you're able to get your job back, or at least find a new one, and get our country back to where we were prior to this. I mean, it was amazing. The economy was amazingly good, and now we've got considerable amount of row to hoe, right? So it's going to bring ourselves down to 2,000 here slowly. We got a considerable amount of work to do to get things back, but let's just hope that we're able to do that. Certainly the stock market thinks we're going to be able to do it. There's a lot of mixed opinions about how things are going to be for the next few months economically. But let's hope that the governors, I think other states around the country are starting to open up more, aside from New York, Michigan, California, and Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, right? Pennsylvania, I don't understand why, because they have, I think their death rate was so low. I don't understand why they still have the restrictions. Delaware, they're still stopping people with out-of-state plates in their state, which is, and to me, it's like, it's got to come to a point where you got to let people live, But anyway, I'm going to stop ranting about that. So we're going to be looking into the HP Reverb Gen 2. I want to see if I can find out when that's coming out, because that may be my next headset. Maybe my next headset. I would miss Oculus. I'd give up all the Oculus unless there's a way to run the Oculus games that I have, because a lot of the games I bought are on the Oculus system rather than Steam, which is unfortunate, because I probably should have thought about that. I probably should have used Steam, because using Steam would keep you open. And that's probably advice I have. If you're getting into VR and you want to buy software, I would say buy it on Steam, even though there's a lot of free software, so the free stuff you can do with Oculus. But if you're going to spend money, I would say buy your software on Steam, because that way, if you decide to go from the Oculus platform to another platform, then you're going to be able to take advantage of the software that you bought, provided it's compatible. All right, so we're just about getting here to the Delaware Bay, where we're going to cross over into New Jersey. So we're going to be coming into runway 10 at Cape May from the west. And so it should be pretty clean. Well, I appreciate you guys hanging out in the watching the stream. If you're in the chat there, say hello. Would like to have someone to talk to instead of talking to myself. If you have any questions about VR, or questions about X11 or flight simulation, or things of that ilk, PCs, GPUs, those sorts of things, let me know. Maybe I can help you if you're struggling with configuring or getting your system to work. Let me know. Maybe I can help you. If you're interested in VR aviation, and you're on Facebook, which so many of us are, we've got a great Facebook group. I'll show it here, guys. Here, it's the the Virtual Reality Aviators group. Basically, it's just search VR Aviators on Facebook, and you'll find it. And then we've got over 2,000 members, almost 2,300 members, I think now. And probably about 30, 40 new members every week, which is awesome. But there's some great people on here with some great experience flying simulators in VR that you might want to check out. There's a lot of great insight, and if you have problems or you're thinking about getting into it, go to this Facebook page, or I should say group, and sign up and just ask your questions. Great, helpful people. Note there's no such thing as a stupid question, but check it out, and I'm sure people can help you. So, M9, how you doing? Good to see you there, bub. I'm flying near your neck of the woods here in Maryland. Mikey, hello. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Yeah, I know you're a Maryland flyer. By the way, M9, I'm not sure you're aware of this, but AFM and TorqueSim are working on a XP11 Cirrus SR22 GT. I don't know if you know that or not. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, you knew that. Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. It's real sim. There's a bunch of people that are working on it together. And for those who don't know, here it is. It looks so sweet, man. Oh, you work for them? Ah. All right, well, we're gonna have to, maybe we could talk offline about that, because maybe we could talk offline. It looks so sweet. So sweet. In fact, I already bought an SR22 in FS Economy. You know, it's funny, you know Coop from AFM. I'm sure you do. About a year and a half ago, he and I were having discussions about actually developing this plane. I don't know if we may have even talked to you about it. I can't remember, but it was a while ago, and I got so busy with stuff that I just couldn't get involved. But I was so glad to see that they're working on it, and yeah, it's going to be exciting. As you know, like you, one of my favorite planes to fly in VR, and it looks like they're going to use they're going to be using the Laminar Research G1000. So with their own implementation of that, I'm sure you know that already. But it's got the synthetic vision and all that stuff. That's going to be so cool to see. And it'll basically make obsolete the SR20 from V-Flight Air. I mean, I love the V-Flight Air SR20, but it's lost some steam because I don't think they've kept up with its development and stuff. It still doesn't use the G1000. You can't preload flight plans into it. It's got a lot of problems. I mean, I like the plane, but I just don't really fly it much anymore. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so basically, I'm looking forward to the SR22. That would be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Any idea when you think it might be? If you don't have to answer if you can't, okay? But do you have any idea when do you think? Oh, okay, cool. Well, I know. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to venture into that the hardware aspect, because it looks that would be awesome, but I'm surely looking forward to checking that out. Question I have is, do you have any idea as to when we can expect? You don't know the release date, but it's getting close. All right, cool. Yeah, from the last pictures, it looked like it was getting close, but that's just graphics, and I know there's a lot of coding to do. I'm sure it's been a couple of year project, but I'm so glad that they're doing it because that plane is so fun to fly, and you, as a person that flies it in real life, I'm sure you're really looking forward to it, right? Cape May traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta at 2,000 feet. We are 17 miles west of the field. We'll be making a straight-in approach for runway 10 at Cape May, full stop, Cape May. Yeah, so for those who don't know, M9 is a real-world pilot. He flies SR-20s or SR-22s, I'm sure, as well as other planes. Yeah, good old Cape May. And actually, M9 did the design of the VR Aviation terminal hangar, if you will, which is awesome. He did a couple of airports for the group, which was cool of him to do. You can get them on X-Plane.org if you just search for WWD. You can get that custom scenery. And yeah, you missed the beginning here, M9. I was just talking about how Beta 9, 11.50 Beta 9, and using the OVR settings tool has really made a considerable improvement, at least for me, in performance, which is awesome. Prior to that, when I took off out of Cape May in VR, I would get ridiculous stuttering, and now it's just smooth as silk, which is awesome. So when you say changed in scenery design, has it gotten easier? Just curious. Oh, I see. Okay, cool. So it just makes it streamlines the workflow, I guess. So that's pretty cool that you're working. Oh, I see. So you had to include, external third-party libraries. So now they've got default libraries that makes it easier. That's good. So it's pretty cool that you're working for real sim gear. That's how long you been working there? I think I knew that actually, but I'm just curious how long you've been working there. Cape May traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta at 2,000 feet. We are 9 miles west of the field. We're coming straight in approach runway 10, full stop, Cape May. Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. That's pretty cool, man, that you're lively, because I know if I remember correctly, you're an ex-networking guy, if I remember correctly. You work for one of the larger service providers, if I remember correctly. And now you've gotten yourself into a career in flight simulation outboard gear, which is pretty freaking cool, man. full-time, part-time job. Gotcha. That's still pretty cool. All right, so we're taking over the plane here. I'm going to get this plane down, start to back off our throttle. Coming down a little fast here. I knew I put those flaps in early, but the virtual plane can take it. Cape May traffic 328 Tango Delta on short final 3 miles west of the field. Be running runway 10 full stop, Cape May. All right, let's get the gear down. See the smoothness as we come into the shoreline here at Cape May? This used to be a jittery, stuttery mess before Beta 9 and the OVR tool. And what we're seeing here is scenery that M9 designed as we land at Cape May here. All right, get that last notch of flaps in. Check our trim, just get our trim nose up a little bit here. Keep it at 94 knots. Wheels down. Everything's good. Down to 89 knots. Get it 80 over the fence, around there. There we go, 79. Nice and easy. Beautiful. And there's the hangar that M9 designed right over there to our right. Cape May traffic, Diamond 328 Tango Delta, just clear the field. Taxiing to VR Aviation, last call, Cape May. All right. Park it next to this Beechcraft. Beautiful. Oop, I didn't want to do that. All right, let's get our brakes set. Yeah, I'm still using the original Rift. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Someone offers to pay you for your hobby. Oh, you were Cape May. Yeah, so yeah, still using the original Rift. Actually, before you joined, I'm considering the HP Reverb, but Looks like there's rumors of them working on a Gen 2. So probably going to wait for that, you know. All right, so let's turn this, let's get this plane off here. So, shut our engines off. Come on. There we go. Get the aviation off, electric master off, and we are good to go. There she is. People still in it. All right, guys. Well, listen. Hey, M9, everyone. I appreciate. Oh, you got. All right. So here's the thing about iRacing. Yeah, it's the same thing. I was thinking about the HP Reverb Pro, and then I saw that this Gen 2 thing's coming out. So obviously we got to wait for that. I cannot drive iRacing in VR. I get motion sickness. No matter what I've tried, I can't do it. Like I go around the track, I can go around slow, but once I start to get the speed, up to 150, 140, 150 miles an hour, whatever. Even in the Mazda cars at 80 miles an hour, I get like motion sickness. I can't shake it. And I tried fans, I tried all kinds of stuff. I just can't shake it. So I drive iRacing in 2D. It sucks. Because I'd much rather do it in 3D, but I'm unable. Now, I never had a problem with Project Cars at all. I was always able to drive there in VR, but for some reason in iRacing, and I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try to play with it. Maybe the HP Reverb might be better. I don't know, but for some reason in iRacing, it just really bothers me to the point. Yeah, okay. So you're seeing the same thing. I mean, I've never gotten motion sickness in X11 in a plane. Your father almost threw up. Yeah. I mean, I could tell you, like, I tried it. I tried iRacing in VR once, and I started to get nauseous, and I stopped. And then the second time I tried it, I literally was nauseous for like 40 minutes after. Like, I took the headset off in the middle of being nauseous, and I had to basically stop because it was so bad, and then it would just it stayed with me for like 45 minutes or close to an hour. So maybe I need to lower the settings. Maybe it's not hitting 90 frames per second in the Rift. I don't know, but all right, yeah, I can't. I will hit you up on Discord. I can't do it right now because I've got to go do a thing with my wife. So we're going on a ride. So. But yeah, I definitely want to chat with you certainly about the SR22 and maybe on the iRacing stuff. But good to hear from you. In fact, guys, hey, good to hear from everybody. I appreciate you guys stopping by the stream. We'll be back again next Sunday at 9:30. Trying to keep this a regularly scheduled thing. But again, appreciate the participation. And I'll be putting this over on YouTube as well. So for those who want to watch it on demand. But listen, thanks. Have a great Memorial Day. Enjoy today. Hopefully it's sunny where you are. You can get out and get some fresh air like I'm about to do. And stay safe. Keep the faith. Stay free. And God bless America. Take care, guys.